Hey guys, how you doing? I'm making good work with the Ewing, some good progress is happening. I've got the top painted. This is Rebel Alliance White by Archive X, which I know that Guy actually liaised with Alex at Pinewood Studios and got the right shade that he used, and then made it himself in the Archive X range. So that's what I'm using, and it's a lovely white, but I've run out, so I'm waiting for another batch to come in, which is really annoying because I can't finish the bottom of the wings and the underside of this body. That's still in primer. I mean, the primer I'm using is Tamiya Fine Light Grey, which is only a shade darker than the actual base coat, so you don't have to use that much paint to cover it, but I've run out regardless. I've got the top section and roof of the cockpit installed, so I mean that's how much you're going to see of the interior, and even then doors go on there, so really a lot of that gets covered up. But you know, us modelers know the work is there. It's quite often the way when you're building I don't know whether it's planes, X-wings, whatever, you do a lot of detail in the inside, then it just gets completely covered up. But that's the way it is. But that's like that. Then this cool piece here, that's still drying. So that was interesting. That was painted glossy black at the rattle can, then AK Interactive dark aluminium, and then a flat black sort of misted over the top, and then some rust washes, because I'm working off Alex's reference, and he used quite traditional sort of washes and that sort of thing when he paints, and I'm using his as a guide to paint mine. So that slips in there. I've had to sort of airbrush the front just so it's not bright white. That goes in like that, and then with the canopy on, if I can get that in place. Yeah, you don't, again, all that detail disappears, but you know, it's there if you twist it around. But all the top and side detail is welcomed, obviously, but you know, a lot of it gets covered up. Another cool little thing is the double Z marking that's on the snow speeders. That is actually on Alex's model that he did at Pinewood. What else? Oh yeah, the back has been done. That again went through the same process I've just said, but with some graphite polishing. Again, that's in my eyes, that appears on Alex's work, and underneath there's a hole there that's meant to go through for the wires for the engines, but I'm toying with the idea of not lighting it, simply because I never turn it on, and I want it in a flight position. And if you have the lights in it, this is, you know, that's a cable that runs out of there, which goes into a pack here, which hides the battery on the base, and you have the landing gear going under the wings. And I'm, you know, it looks cool on its base, but I really want to get this in a flight position. So I've made that hole slightly bigger, and I've got a bit of rod, and I've inserted that in like that. If that goes in like that, and hopefully if I can get that in and have a fiddle around inside, I might be able to use that as a stand for it. Possibly, don't know yet. I'm still toying with the idea of what I'm going to do with that. And I think that's about it. The engines have been primed. All the other bits and pieces are in primer, and until I get the remainder of the paint arrive in the post, I can't really do much more. Oh, I forgot to say that the blue is Alliance Blue from Archive X, so that's what that blue marking is, and on the rear and on the wings. And there's some shades underneath that I'm actually getting the paint codes for from Alex, so I'll be able to get the paint underneath matched as well. I think they're discontinued paints that are just a nightmare to get hold of. They are from the UK. I think they're Games Workshop paints, but you know, you just can't get them. Okay, so I've got both of the hulls together. This fits nice and snug. I don't think this is the way to put it together because it's now slightly tricky to get the wing in position. Not super tricky, but I think the hull body top is meant to go on last, but that's, you know, just the way I've done it. I do things strange ways. And then this chap goes on top like that. If I can get that to snap in place. Like that. And then that now opens and closes right back like that. I've still got to paint the underside of it. I believe there's blue markings. I'm just waiting on some reference for the underside of it. So that's like that. That just pops out like that. The underside is glued on. What else? Right, yes, the mount for it. At the moment, this mount in here is taking its weight. Like that. So at least now I can have it in a flight position. Again, that's not how the manufacturers intended. The kit designers didn't have that as a stand. So that is just my personal choice. So do it at your peril. That is meant to be for the wire for the lights to come through. But as I'm not lighting it, that's what I've done. I never turn my lights on my models, ever. And for the sake of a photograph, I've decided to opt out of lighting it. It's designed beautifully for the lights. All the engines have got that 3-hole insert for the 5mm LEDs. So it's a shame not to light it in certain respects, but it's just, I wanted it in flight. So to have the, you know, to lose out for having it lit, to have it in flight mode, I was happy to do that. So the engines have been roughly painted just to sort of give us a base for when I start adding the rust and that sort of thing. But yeah, we're getting there. Okay, so I've got it together. Opens and closes. Oh, don't know if you can see that, and stays like that. And closes nicely on that side. This side, I've got some wobble, and if you tilt it that way, it falls open. Now, that's probably user error. I probably didn't snap this side down quite enough. And when we're talking a mil, you know, so I've made a little tab, and I'm going to put that inside there and tuck it back so you won't be able to see it. And that will jam that in more securely and will stop that that wobble. The underside has been done. That's a different colour to the top, and I've put that door in place. Again, that's the only access you can see for the interior. I'm probably going to have this door back and secured in place. Don't know if you can see that, like that. So it's slid open, so at least you can see some detail. What else? The engines have been done, as in given a base coat and the blue stripe added. I can get that on just to quickly show you. And the same the other side. I don't know if that's a top one or bottom one, but I'll just stick it on just so you can see and get a gauge of the actual length of this lovely ship. So yeah, it's a decent size once put together. Now that can slide open with them in place like that, which is cool. I mean, that is absolutely huge. Oh, sorry. Once you pull them back. Now, when it's closed, there is a detail that needs to slide in there. You can see there's a little hole just about, and I think you can get some magnets and just snap that detail in. Perhaps I can just go and grab that. It's on the other side of the room, so just excuse me for a sec. Yeah, it's this part here. Now on the other side there's a hole and a locating pin. That hole is for a small magnet, and you just slide it in place like that. But then when that's in place, you can't open the wing. So the idea of having a magnet is that you take that out and then you're free to open that wing out and have it in a flight position. So that's how I'm sitting at the moment. Right, so this is how it looks now. Just the normal way that I paint these. I've put a slight bit of sort of panel staining on, some chipping with a sponge. The original painting at Pinewood Studios by Alex Hutchings, he chipped the base coat first. So he put the grey down and then masked off, you know, the panels, and then put the white down, then chipped it off, which is probably how I should have done it. But it was too late. I just put the white on, so I sort of jumped the gun there a little bit. But I've sort of gone back and done the chipping just using a sponge. You know, it should have been done the other way, but you know, that's the only slight sort of problem that I've encountered, and you know, silly thing I've done. I do a lot of silly things, but that's easily rectified by using a sponge. The engines have been put on. Panels all done. The underneath has been weathered. I've got that door on, you know, sliding off, and that one in position. Now, that is a different colour, that bottom part, to the original. To the top, sorry, not the original. Airbrush work just over it. Some staining here at the engines. There's some brown sort of staining that I could notice on Alex's build. But I mean, when these open up, I can't even get these in camera. It's just huge. But I'm really happy with how it looks, to be honest. I've put that little tab in there. I know you can see it just, I mean, you can't see it when it's like that, but you can see it at an angle. To be honest, most of the time I'm going to have it closed anyway. And you need these guys in situ when it's closed, so they'll just plonk in like that. I do need to order some magnets though, some 4x2 magnets to go in there. And I've also got my my stand being made that'll fit in the back here. That's with the machinist now, so I'm pretty much good to go really. Once that stand comes back in and the magnets arrive, I can take some final photographs and get this lovely Merlin Models Ewing complete. Okay, so I've got it on the stand. I can barely get it in in view of the camera. I'll try and turn it around just a little bit so you can sort of see what it looks like. But I'm really impressed with, you know, how it looks. It's just quite a beast when it's all finished. I've got the wings obviously out in that huge flying position, but it's really tricky to get that actually in the camera phone. It's so big. But I'll fold these back. Get that sitting like that. Still got to get the magnets for these bits. These just slide in here, but they push fit actually quite nicely in themselves, so I don't know how important those magnets are, but I'd rather have them than not. But there we go. That's the 1/48-ish Ewing from Merlin Models, and after building this I wouldn't hesitate to pick this up. It's lovely. It's really well thought out, well engineered. There, and I'm not telling a lie now, I literally didn't have to pick up a hobby knife to, or a bit of sandpaper once to sand or clean up any of the resin. It came out absolutely perfect. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed watching along. I've enjoyed building it, and on to the next one. Okay, so I've got it looking like this. Just the usual suspects, really. It's the oh fuck, that's come off. I have to glue that back on. Oh fuck, that's banged down.